Good morning, Karolina.
Good morning.
Welcome to Malta.
Thank you very much.
And welcome to the Womanifest World 2026. So this year you will be one of the speakers and one of the most inspiring speakers because yesterday we had the opportunity to speak about your book and it really resonates to me. So,
thank you very much for that.
You are an author, the author of Hair Play, Excited founder, investor, mentor from UK. I'm pretty sure you have much more, so I will leave it in your hands to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you for that. They are very kind words. My name is Karolina Pelc, and as you said, at the moment I work mostly in the field of working with startups, investing in startups, advising VCs. But my background is the gaming industry. I actually lived in Malta for over 6 years. Working for the major gaming companies in here. I came here, I think, 2014, and I lived here maybe even earlier, maybe 2011, and I left 2017. So Malta played a big chapter in my career, in my life. I got pregnant here, and I had a baby. So it will always have a very sentimental place in my heart.
That's amazing. I didn't know that part. So you're just kind of back home.
Yes, I always feel home here.
Okay, so we have something in common because I also work in iGaming.
Oh,
and you mentioned a major company. We'll talk about it later because it might be the same company. So we see.
The island is small, the industry is small.
It is very small indeed. I have a question for you, Karolina. You've successfully exited a company and stepped into investing and mentoring. How did that transformation redefine your purpose?
I think it wasn't even a transformation, it was just a very strong calling because, I was new to the startup journey and it was a very hard journey, but I had a lot of allies. I had a lot of people who were there with helpful advice, with helping hand, and I could call them anytime I needed them. Now, I had the confidence to find those people, to seek that advice, and not every founder, especially female founders, have that same confidence. So I felt it was my obligation or duty of care to pass on the advice and the helping hand that I received in my journey. So this is why I put myself out there as a mentor. I do a lot of pro bono mentoring as well. I'm just trying to encourage early stage and aspiring entrepreneurs to take the leap by giving them the very early foundation of what is it going to be like, both the good and the bad. Yes.
And I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, to step out of your comfort zone, your daily routine, and it takes a lot of courage.
It does, because especially when you were a founder like me, I only ran my business for less than 3 years. So there was this element of self-doubt of who am I to be giving advice and mentoring other people. But it quickly disappeared when I realized that advice is valuable. I had enough feedback from people saying, not everyone wants to do what you're doing. So any help that you're giving us is always very, very appreciated.
I have another question about women in leadership. What financial or entrepreneurial barrier do women still need to break today?
I think for leadership and entrepreneurship, a big barrier is lack of female models, role models. It's a bit of less of a problem these days, but it's been a huge problem in the past. And I think when it comes to startup founders, there still aren't that many females in the ecosystem and not that many successful females who are sharing their story so they can act as means of encouragement for others. Now, when it comes to entrepreneurship itself, I also think there is a gap in the investment ecosystem, a gender gap, and whereas capital doesn't have gender, so it doesn't matter if it comes from men or women, I think for those pitching, it would be good to see people like yourself in the room when you're putting yourself out there in a very vulnerable situation. So these two elements, I think, the more women we get into these spaces, the less barriers there will be.
Totally, and I agree with you 100%, and I hope, like you said, things are shifting slowly, but we're getting there, surely. And one last question about why we're here, the Womanifest conference. You would be part of the speakers, the panel today. What advice would you give women here who want to build something scalable and impactful?
I'm at the event because I'm very inspired by Anna's work and I love events for women. I've always been a big champion of gender diversity in our industry, as you know, heavily male dominated. What advice would I give for impactful is scalable? I don't think I can give advice for scalable because that always depends on the concept. So it isn't really a one fits all type of advice. But impactful, I think it goes back to the framework we discussed at dinner yesterday. Look deep within yourself to understand what are your own assets. Where does your experience could really benefit a product or service that you want to offer? What do you have the passion for? Because if you connect those things, you capitalize on your own background and your own expertise, and then you add passion for it, then it's going to be impactful by default.
Yes.
Where it comes to scalability, it all depends, and I wasn't able to scale my startup to the level I would have wanted because we were acquired before that period, so I'm not the best advisor in that space. But when you're there, you're going to know who to ask.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Karolina, and I'm looking forward to hear you on stage today.
Perfect. Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome, and welcome to the Feminine Voice.
Thank you.